Hello, everybody. I'm going to tell a story today that I've told before, but it's germane to what's happening right now. So I'm going to take you back 5 years to August of 2019. And there was a man, a billionaire, a hedge fund guy named Paul Tudor Jones. Maybe you haven't heard of him, but in our world, we kind of have. In August of 19, and we didn't know this then, but we know it now, he started selling all of his stock. Well, then in September of 19, other billionaires like Ray Dalio and we start to hear that they're selling stocks. I say start to hear, we know it in hindsight. Then in October of 19, there was a strange disease that broke out in Wuhan, China at the military games. Makes the news for a couple of days, then it goes away. Then in January of 20, Paul Tudor Jones is in Davos, and that's where all the rich dudes meet every year or so. And he was talking with a bunch of business reporters from Fox Business, CNBC, this kind of thing. And they're talking about interest rates and inflation, the usual. He says, well, that's not your real problem. He said, the real problem is we've got this disease that's broken out in Wuhan, China, and nobody's quite sure what it is, and he starts to school them on spike proteins. Well, they had no idea what he was talking about. Their jaws drop. And he said, if I were you, I'd sell all my stock. Well, okay. Right after that, Fauci comes out and he says, don't worry about it. It's just the flu. You don't have to mask up. It's all okay. Well, now we know this for certain. During that time, Nancy Pelosi, the other politicians, both Republicans and Democrats, are selling their stocks. Then in March of 20, it's the end of the world. COVID is here. We got to shut down. The stock market dives 50%. And guess who's got all the money to buy? Right. All right. So Paul Tudor Jones doesn't call Greg in Albuquerque or Wald to tell us what he's doing and why, but we can kind of piece it together now. In August, he probably got a phone call from China. And they said, sir, we might have a problem over here. These guys are connected. I'd imagine he put a virologist, probably a couple of Chinese speakers, some of his staff on his jet, said, go to China, get the real story, call me. 72 hours later, sir, we got a problem. So he starts to sell. The billionaires run together. Ray calls him. Paul, what are you doing? Ray, let's go have a drink. This is how the world works. And again, they don't tell us in Albuquerque. So how can we know if something like that might be going on? Here's where it will show up. It will show up in the 10-year Treasury yield. When these guys sell, they have to put the money somewhere. And this is what happened back in 2019, 2020. We started to see interest rates fall on the 10-year Treasury. Now, why would they do that? If a lot of money is moving there, because if they'll sell their stocks, it's got to go somewhere. They were putting it into 10-year treasuries because that was considered the safe investment. Okay, if a lot of people are putting money in there, you don't have to offer as high interest rate. And you start to see the interest rate go down for really no apparent reason you would think of in the usual run-of-the-mill news. So why did I tell this story again today? This is what we've seen over the last few weeks. We're seeing the yields on the 10-year fall for no apparent reason. Big money is moving. So now we have to speculate what's going on here. If I were guessing, I would say it has something to do with the election. I don't believe either side is going to accept the outcome. Let's say Kamala Harris wins. Do you guys really believe the red states are going to say, this was legit, she's our president, we're all going to fall in line behind her? I doubt it. That'll be tough on the markets. If Donald Trump wins, do you really think the left is going to accept it? Or do you think you could see uprisings by Antifa in the cities? You all could do the scenarios. In either case, I think we're going to see stresses in the market. Big money is seeing it first. They are moving out of these things and moving to and showing up in the 10-year Treasury. Are Walt and I thinking about this and preparing for it? Yes. In your accounts, here's what the reaction would be to that. You're going to see all kinds of stimulus. the government's going to have to do something to get the economy back up. You're going to see the Fed drop interest rates like crazy. That all works in favor of your portfolios. So that's really it for this week. And so I'm going to turn it over to Walt.